Hey friends, Miss Liz here. I'm gonna show you how to make a unicorn cake. Woo woo. So you've already learned the pieces of this. You've learned how to make some ears. You've learned how to make a horn. You've learned how to do rosettes. And so it's just kind of putting everything together. I have a cake here that has a basic smooth coat of frosting. And I have all of my pieces. I am gonna do just two fall colors for frosting. You can either do individually colored rosettes and kind of alternate with two different piping bags, or I'm gonna show you in this video how to put two colors into one bag, and you can do like two or three colors in one depending on what kind of swirl pattern you want. Otherwise, you can do them individually. I kind of like the swirl color combination thing, so that's what I'm gonna do. But you can play around with it and see what you think. Before I do that though, I'm gonna use a little bit of my gel food coloring here, and I'm gonna paint the inside of my dried ears to give them a little bit more depth. Now you can do this with any color, and if you don't want it to be quite this bold, you can see this is very, very yellow because it's pure gel. If you want the color to be slightly less, you can thin it down using either some clear vanilla extract, put some in like a little tiny cup, a little bit of vanilla extract, and then some of that gel food coloring, and it'll be more like a watercolor. If you want it to be really concentrated, you can just do straight food coloring though, if you want it to be a really dark color. So what I'm doing is I'm starting in the center and I'm kind of fanning it out so that it fades up the inside of the ear. So it's a gradual change in the color, just like that. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna do the other one. Now it's up to you if you want to paint the horn. Depending on the kind of unicorn I'm making, sometimes I'll do food coloring on the horn, or you can get something it's called pearl dust. It comes in a little bottle if you want it to be shimmery, and with that you also would mix with a clear vanilla extract. And you don't want to mix with water, because if you mix with water, that's going to make your fondant become sticky again. Extract, because it's an alcohol based, will dry more quickly because it evaporates, and shouldn't make your fondant too sticky. It might be sticky initially, but it won't stay sticky. It dries pretty quickly. So it's up to you if you want to do the horn. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm going to just kind of make some little slash marks on the swirls to kind of amplify that texture, but I'm not going to do it all the way around. I'm just going to kind of do it in little spots here just to highlight some of that texture. Obviously, I've let these ears and this horn set up for quite a while, so it's nice and sturdy and hard. You can kind of see what I've done here. I've just kind of gone along with the twist pattern to kind of highlight that. So I'm doing a fall themed color unicorn here. You can do any colors you want, and I can post in the classroom some of the other examples of unicorn cakes I've done if you want some suggestions. Also, how you do the face of your unicorn is totally up to you. I really like the shy eyes where it looks like their eyes are closed. You can do it however you want. All right, so I have my pieces ready. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and fill my piping bag, and I'm going to do two colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my yellow here, and I'm going to put this into the piping bag on the bottom. So I'm going to try to keep all of the yellow on the bottom half of the bag when I fill it. Okay. Kind of like that. Then I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to try and put some green on this half so that they're side by side. Now there are tons of different techniques to doing this. You can play around with how you want. This is how I do it. It's not going to be a perfect swirl. Sometimes I'm going to get more yellow out. Sometimes I'm going to get more green out. Sometimes it's going to fuse together and mix. That's okay. That's what I want it to look like. Now, if you want it to be very, very precise, they have special bags that have tripod adapters so that it keeps all your colors separate until they come out. You can definitely get those. I don't mind when they fuse a little bit. So what I'm gonna do when I push this down is try to push across the same level. So I'm pushing the colors at the same time, hopefully. Doesn't always work that way. Just doing the best I can. Lots of trial and error when you do these kinds of things. Then, so you can see right now coming out first is primarily yellow. That's okay. All right, so the first thing you need to decide is what is the front of your cake gonna be? So I'm gonna do, this is my front. So I'm gonna do kind of a triangle pattern of rosettes. So right here, I'm gonna do a small little rosette. And then since right now all I'm getting out is yellow, I'm gonna space it out a little until some of that green comes. There we go, some of that green's coming out now. There we go. So I'm just doing a bunch of little rosettes, kind of in a triangle pattern on the top. So this is where the mane is gonna kind of come down into the face. Okay, and it's up to you. If you wanna cover the whole top, totally can. I like to do kind of a gradual progression into a triangle. I'm gonna do a couple of little tuck flowers. Just apply pressure and then pull straight up, just like that, okay? Then once I get to the, I'm gonna turn it around and this is gonna be my back and I'm gonna bring the rosettes down. Now it's up to you if you wanna narrow it back out or have it wrap around. This is your cake, you get to decide. All right, so I'm gonna take my spoon back here. And like I said, I don't mind if the colors kind of mix, that's why I'm using the same spoon. Just like that. And then I'm gonna get some more of my green here. All right. Try to squeeze that down nice and even. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do some nice rosettes along the top edge. Got a little air bubble there. Okay. Then I'm gonna come underneath, just like we did when we did those rosettes earlier, kind of staggering that pattern so that you're putting the rosette in between where the other ones were. And that helps to kind of fill in those gaps when we kind of come in between what was already done. We can come right underneath and fill in so that there's no holes, okay? Nice little rosette there. Down to the bottom. Last little few here. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to show you what I've got here. So I've just got some really simple rosettes kind of coming back down. There's my front, my triangle top. Now it's up to you, like I said, sometimes what I'll do is I'll have those rosettes kind of wrap around, kind of like it has a ponytail to the side. Totally up to you. All right, now before that hardens, I am gonna put a few sprinkles on the top. You do want, if you're gonna add sprinkles, make sure you do it right after you've finished piping, because once this frosting starts to kind of crust over, it's gonna be impossible to get those sprinkles to stick. So now, I showed you how to compress sprinkles on, but if you want sprinkles to stick freely to something like rosettes, you kind of have to throw them at it. So just kind of toss a couple sprinkles at the side of the cake and they should stick in the frosting. Okay. Woo. There we go. Okay. All right. So that's the mane for the unicorn. So then we have our little ears, and we're going to put those right on the edge here of where our frosting is. You're just going to kind of push them down in, just like that, okay? And then we're gonna take our horn and put that horn right in between, kind of push it down in so that it kind of sinks into the cake, just like that. Okay, now, the last thing we need to do is put on the eyes. I recommend using a toothpick or the edge of your brush or something and kind of drawing on in the frosting before you actually put any color on in case you mess up. So I'm just gonna use the back end of my brush, and I'm gonna come down here kind of centered, and I'm just gonna draw in the frosting a little half circle, and then another little half circle. And then I like to give them eyelashes on the end, so I'm just gonna do a couple swipes out to the side like that. If you've pulled up some of that frosting and it looks kind of lumpy, you can kind of smooth that out because it'll make it easier to fill in. All right, so then what I have here is I have a little bit of green frosting saved. You can use whatever you want. If you want to use some darker buttercream, if you want to cut out some pieces of fondant and put those on, that's totally fine too. So I'm just gonna go right along that line that I just drew. And then right here. Just like that. And that is the unicorn cake. Easy peasy. All right, friends, I'd love to see your creations. Post a picture in the classroom of what you've done. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or post in the classroom if you feel like it's a question everybody would like to see. And I'll see you next time. Enjoy your cake.